Subscribe because it's free.
The cold hum of the containment field barely registers to Elias Vance. He sits in the middle of the sterile chamber, wrists bound, but posture relaxed. He should be afraid. Every species that sat in this very spot before him had broken within minutes. Yet, there he is, calm, indifferent, watching. Commander Vilka stand before him, studying him like a scientist examining a flawed specimen. Her tall, skeletal frame shifts as her violet eyes narrow. The Zalari had broken empires with a whisper, reduced entire civilizations to obedient shadows of their former selves. Fear was their instrument, their ultimate weapon, and it had never failed. Until now, a holographic display flickers to life. Images of burning human cities, ruined battleships drifting in the void, and soldiers screaming as they are torn apart by Zalari bio drones. The psychological warfare perfected over centuries. A carefully curated collection of horror meant to dismantle his mind, layer by layer. Elias barely reacts. His gaze drifts across the carnage as if he's watching a dull presentation. He exhales through his nose, lips curving slightly. Not quite a smirk, but something close. Vilka tilts her head. You don't seem to grasp your position, human. This is not an illusion. This is what remains of your people. Still nothing. Her fingers dance across a control panel. The images change, his own kind. Prisoners, begging, pleading for their lives before they are silenced. The air thickens with an artificial pulse, a low-frequency vibration designed to destabilize the mind, to trigger deep, instinctual terror. It had reduced warlords to weeping children. Elias tilts his head, blinking slowly. Is this supposed to impress me? Vilka's fingers twitch. A reaction, a moment of subtle irritation. She hides it well, but he sees it. You are alone, she presses. No one is coming for you. Earth is in flames. Resistance is futile. Tell me, human, why do you not fear? For the first time, Elias moves. He leans forward, ever so slightly, his eyes locking onto hers. Cold, calculated. You really don't get it, do you? His voice is steady, almost amused. You think you've won. That all this, the images, the noise, the posturing, means something. But the truth? It means nothing. Vilka stiffens. Arrogance is a poor shield. Elias exhales, shaking his head. Arrogance? No. Experience. The lights above dim, a subconscious reaction from the ship's biosensors adjusting to rising tension. Vilka doesn't react outwardly, but something inside her shifts. A crack, small and insignificant. Yet there, her voice is sharper now. We have crushed species that outmatch your kind in every conceivable way. Empires that span the stars before your ancestors had even discovered fire. What makes you different? Elias finally smiles. Not a grin, not a smirk. Something smaller, something worse. You're asking the wrong question. Vilka blinks. Then enlighten me. The room feels colder now. The containment field hums, the low pulse of the ship reverberating through the floor. A long silence stretches before Elias finally speaks again, voice lower, deliberate. You assume fear makes you stronger, that terror grants control, that it will cripple us the way it crippled the others. But that's not how we work. His wrist shifts slightly against the restraints. He doesn't pull, doesn't resist, just reminds her that he could. Fear sharpens us. It doesn't break us. It prepares us. Vilka folds her arms, but he sees the tension in her shoulders. Elias continues, voice even, unwavering. You think I should be afraid, but what you don't understand is that fear isn't a death sentence for us. It's a warning, and warnings. He leans in just a little further. We listen to those. The air is heavy now, and for the first time in her life, Vilka feels something foreign in the back of her mind. Not fear. No, that would be absurd. Something else. Unease. Elias watches her closely, reading her like an open book. He's seen this before. The moment an enemy realizes they've made a mistake. You're trying to win a game we already mastered, he says. You don't know what's coming. Vilka narrows her eyes. What do you mean? Elias exhales, stretching his fingers. His voice lowers, almost a whisper. I mean, you're playing against the wrong species. The ship's lights flicker, just a momentary glitch, something easily dismissed. But Vilka doesn't dismiss it. Her breath is steady, but her pulse isn't. Something feels wrong. Her fingers hover over the control panel, running a silent systems check. Nothing. No anomalies. No threats detected. But the feeling lingers. A whisper in the back of her mind. Elias notices. His lips barely move, but his next words make her blood run cold. You should be afraid. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Then, for the first time in her life, Vilka wonders what if she is. Vilka's stare is unwavering, but something has shifted. The air between them is no longer hers to control. The silence stretches, unnatural, suffocating. She presses a button on her wrist console, activating the next phase of the test. A barely perceptible pulse ripples through the chamber. Psychochemical agents, undetectable to most. They infiltrate the nervous system, targeting the amygdala, amplifying fear responses beyond control. The last test subjects had collapsed within seconds, reduced to incoherent wrecks. Elias doesn't flinch. She watches, waiting for the tremors to start. The widened pupils, the shallow breathing, the silent panic as the brain betrays itself. Instead, his heartbeat remains steady, his breath even. He meets her gaze as if she's the one being observed. Her fingers tighten against the control panel. This is impossible, she murmurs. Elias exhales, tilting his head. No, it's predictable. Her gaze hardens. No species has resisted this. He leans back, stretching his shoulders against the restraints as if he's simply getting comfortable. That's because no species has had to survive the things we have. Vilka's patience thins. Every species survives hardships. Elias scoffs. Hardships? He shakes his head. No, you don't get it. She remains silent, waiting. Your kind looks at history like a list of victories. Who conquered who, what empire ruled what sector. That's not how we see it. Our history. His fingers drum lightly against the chair. It's a list of how many times we should have died. And didn't. She watches him carefully. The plagues that wiped out half our species, he continues. The wars that burned cities to the ground. The disasters that swallowed entire civilizations. We've been on the brink of extinction so many times, we stopped counting. And yet here we are. She shifts unimpressed. As prisoners. Elias smiles, a slow, deliberate thing. As survivors. Vilka folds her arms, choosing her words carefully. Fear is what keeps species alive. It forces them to submit, to recognize when they are outmatched. It is a gift. Elias chuckles. No, it's a leash. And you're used to species who don't know how to break it. She narrows her eyes. And you do. We learned, he says simply, because we had no choice. The chamber is colder now, though the temperature remains the same. She presses another control, increasing the intensity of the neural stimulants. The energy shifts subtly, an invisible weight pressing down. Yet he remains unchanged. Her voice is softer now, measured. Every species has a threshold, a breaking point. It is biological. Elias nods. You're right, but our threshold isn't where you think it is. She doesn't respond, waiting for him to elaborate. Fear doesn't cripple us, he explains. It refines us. We're the species that ran into burning buildings when others ran out. The ones who looked at impossible odds and adapted. He shifts forward again, just slightly. You think we should be afraid of you? His voice is quiet, almost amused. You're just another disaster to us. A flicker of something crosses her expression, but it's gone before he can place it. Foolish, she mutters. You truly believe humans are immune to fear? He shakes his head. No one's immune, but fear isn't a wall to us. It's a doorway. Vilka's fingers hesitate over the console. What does that mean? Elias's voice drops to a near whisper. It means when others freeze, we move. When others submit, we fight. You think we crumble under fear? No, we sharpen our knives. Her mind races through the data. Countless conquests, endless recorded histories of civilizations falling under the same tactics, the same methodology, the same precision. But something gnaws at her now, something she has never encountered before. Doubt. You're afraid? Elias murmurs. The words are absurd, ludicrous. She almost laughs, but the reaction doesn't come. Instead, she finds herself searching his expression for a lie, for the tremor in his voice, the minute hesitations at signal bluffing. There are none. He is calm, too calm. Her voice is measured, but something cracks beneath it. You think I fear you? Elias exhales, stretching against the restraints. Not yet. His eyes meet hers, dark and knowing. But you should. She straightens. You are a prisoner on my ship, surrounded by my forces at the mercy of my command. Enlighten me, human. Why should I fear you? Elias watches her for a moment. Then he leans forward, his voice even, slow. Because you don't understand the real problem. She waits. His eyes don't leave hers. You're not fighting me. Her pulse quickens before she can stop it. He tilts his head, smiles just slightly. You're fighting the ones who aren't here. A silence hangs between them, deep, suffocating. For the first time in her life, she feels something unfamiliar creep into the edges of her mind. It isn't anger. It isn't frustration. It's the first taste of something her species has never known. Dread. Vilka doesn't respond immediately. She processes his words carefully, dissecting them for deception, for some hidden trick she might have overlooked. But there's nothing, just the unsettling weight of a certainty. She straightens, her posture rigid. You speak in riddles, human. If you believe your kind still has hope, you are mistaken. Your world is burning. Your fleets are shattered. There's no one left to fight for you. Elias exhales slowly, shaking his head. You're making the same mistake every conqueror before you made. Vilka narrows her eyes. And what mistake is that? His gaze doesn't waver. Thinking the war is over just because you won the first battle. A low hum vibrates through the ship. Normal background noise, nothing unusual. But for some reason, Vilka feels it differently now. The weight of his words lingers, pressing against the certainty she had moments ago. She folds her arms. There is no war left to fight. Elias chuckles softly. You really believe that? I don't believe. I know. His smile doesn't fade. No, you assume. Vilka exhales sharply. Your species is broken. Your leaders, dead. Your forces, scattered. The remnants of your kind are either enslaved or fleeing like vermin across the void. What do you think will happen? That some last-minute miracle will save you? That hidden reinforcements will arrive? Elias shakes his head. You still don't get it. Vilka's patience wears thin. Then, explain it to me, human. Convince me why your species, outmatched, outgunned, defeated, is still worth fearing. Elias leans forward just a fraction, his voice quieter now. Because we're never really defeated. Her jaw tightens. Delusion. No, he says history. She doesn't respond. She lets him speak. Your kind has never fought a species like us before. Elias continues. You only know how to conquer those who surrender when they realize the fight is lost. The ones who break under fear, who kneel when the noose tightens. He tilts his head. But humans, we don't stop when the fight is lost. Vilka watches him, analyzes every breath, his every movement. He doesn't blink, doesn't hesitate. Our history is written in blood. Elias says, voice steady. We don't stop fighting when the odds are impossible. That's when we fight the hardest. She doesn't reply, but something in her posture betrays her, a subtle stiffness in her stance. Elias notices. He leans back, stretching against the restraints. You want to know why you should be afraid? Vilka remains silent. He smiles again, cold, knowing, because somewhere out there right now, someone is already planning how to kill you. The words send a chill down her spine, though she refuses to show it. Elias continues, unshaken. You crushed our armies? We'll fight from the shadows. You burned our cities? We'll build new ones in the ruins. You took our world? Then you just gave us a reason to take everything from you. His voice lowers. We don't forgive. Something inside her tightens. We don't forget. The room feels smaller. The containment feels I'm now an afterthought against the weight of his words. Vilka presses a silent command into her console, bringing up real-time surveillance across the sector. Every human colony, every stronghold, scattered, disconnected, barely functioning. The remnants of a broken race. And yet, something about Elias's certainty makes her hesitate. She locks eyes with him. You're out of time, human. Even if what you say is true, you have nothing left to fight with. Elias chuckles softly. That's what you think. Vilka doesn't respond. The silence stretches. Then, a proximity alarm pulses through the chamber. Vilka's wrist console lights up with sudden warnings. Rapid data feeds flooding the screen. She scans them, eyes narrowing. Unidentified energy signatures. Movement where there shouldn't be movement. Impossible. She looks up at Elias. He grins. Like I said, you're fighting the ones who aren't here. The proximity alert grows louder. And for the first time, Vilka feels it. Fear. The alarms wail through the ship. A low, droning pulse that signals something Vilka has never heard before. Unidentified hostiles detected. Her fingers move swiftly across the console, pulling up the external sensors. The data streaming and makes no sense. There was no record of human fleets regrouping, no chatter of resistance strong enough to mount an attack. And yet, something is out there. Vilka's grip tightens. What have you done? Elias tilts his head, calm, watching her scramble for answers. Me? Nothing. We don't fight alone. The screen flashes with new readings. Multiple energy signatures. Closing in fast. No matching profiles. No standard ship codes. They weren't human military. They weren't human anything. Yet, they were coming. Vilka clenches her jaw. This is a bluff. Elias exhales, almost amused. Are you sure? She doesn't answer. She doesn't have to. The alarms speak for themselves. A voice crackles through her earpiece. One of her sub-commanders. Commander, we have incoming. Multiple craft emerging from debris fields. They're running silent. No comms, no beacons, but they're human designs. Old ones. They should be dead hulks. Vilka's mind races. Old human ships? That's impossible. Those wrecks have been drifting in the void for decades, remnants of past battles. They were derelicts. They weren't a threat, unless her blood runs cold. She turns to Elias, realization dawning. You never stopped fighting. He nods. Took you long enough. A sick feeling settles in her gut. Her people had assumed humanity's forces were crushed, their fleets obliterated. But humans didn't fight like other species. They adapted. They turned wreckage into weapons. They turned survivors into soldiers. And worst of all, they waited. Waited until the enemy was comfortable. Until their guard was down. Until the moment was just right. She sees it now, what she should have seen earlier. The attacks on her supply lines. The seemingly random disappearances of scouting vessels. The malfunctions in occupied human colonies. They weren't accidents. They weren't isolated. They were calculated. Her breath quickens. Commander, the voice in her earpiece is urgent now. They're accelerating. They're not responding to hails. Orders. Vilka swallows hard. Deploy interceptors. Charge plasma batteries. Prepare for engagement. Understood. She turns back to Elias. This changes nothing. We still have the upper hand. Elias raises an eyebrow. Do you? Her console lights up again. New alerts. Unauthorized access detected. Internal security compromised. Weapon systems offline. Her stomach drops. Elias sighs, stretching his shoulders as if he's already bored. You've been sitting on our technology for years, thinking you understood it. You didn't. You just inherited our ghosts. Her hands hover over the controls, desperately trying to regain control of the ship. The screen's glitch flicker before cutting to black. The bridge lights dim. And then a voice crackles through the ship's comms. A human voice. Vilka, it says, we've been waiting for you. Her blood turns to ice. Elias smiles. See? Told you. The realization crashes into her like a tidal wave. This wasn't a surprise attack. It wasn't a last-ditch effort. It was a trap, a long one. Her ship shudders as something impacts the hull. The distant echo of explosions ripples through the structure. The invasion had begun. She grips the console, her mind racing. Think. She activates the emergency override, attempting to send a distress signal to the fleet. But the signal doesn't go through. Jammed. The walls are closing in. Elias leans forward, voice quiet. You wanted to know why I wasn't afraid? Vilka doesn't respond. He watches her, his eyes cold. Because humans don't lose wars. We just take our time choosing how to win them. The ship groans, alarms screaming louder. And for the first time in her life, Vilka understands what it means to be hunted.